Welcome back, everyone. On today's episode, we are going to continue playing our Oxygen Not Included game, starting from Cycle 19. How was that YouTube-y intro? Was it good? Is it exactly what you needed? I'm not going to do that again. Just playing around, you know. Just like what I'm doing here. We're just playing around. Okay, so we left off. I procrastinated. Ooh, I gotta set my timer. Gotta make sure I only play for a certain amount of time. Otherwise, I won't get any real work done. You know, this is, you know, this project I'm doing. This is just me convincing myself that this is actually work when it's not. This is fully a distraction from what my typical day-to-day is, but I excuse it because I'm making the video, you know, for you guys to watch, if anyone is out there watching. So anyways, yeah, this is like a big lie I tell myself, you know, about my day of work. Don't tell my wife about this. Okay. All right, moving on. So, last time I mentioned that we want to have, you know, you want to take some time to appreciate the animations, you know, so that's what we're doing here. You know, Lyra is a little sick. She's got food poisoning. She ate a germ-covered mush bar, but she will feel better later. So, that kind of stuff early on is okay. That's just what it is. Ideally, they wouldn't have a germ-covered mush bar, but the jobs that they're doing are not very stressful, and once you get to a later level, then you can start to worry about that. For instance, in order to take care of that, you would have to get some medicine-based things. There are pills that you can take in the later section that you have to build. I believe it is in this. Oh no, is it in the sick bay? Oh no, it's right here. This thing. Oh, actually, we can build this right now. So why don't we do that? And by that I mean I think we actually have to research it. So let's go ahead and research that. Good for us. Okay, and I was thinking back to my first game. I died of heat death because I planted a power generator. I planted, in my very first game of this, I planted this guy, a coal generator. Not the wood burner, but the coal generator. Because coal is really good resource, you know, but it's a backup resource and you should use it as that. It's an early game resource for, you know, getting some stuff up and running, and then it should not be your primary one. And I can show you how to rig it so it's a secondary or tertiary power resource. What you want to think about is how do you get renewables, things that aren't just wasting. And the coal, there's a finite amount. There's a lot, but there's a finite. And it generates heat. And if you don't have good control of your heat, then you're just gonna get hosed. So, you just wanna be careful. Okay, so we have our insulated tiles, so I'm gonna attempt to start controlling the heat situation here. And you'll see how I do that. First thing I'm gonna do is layer in and protect this. And there's sort of multiple ways to do this, but how I'm gonna do it is like that, because I wanna make sure I keep these resources in here. And I'm just gonna leave that as a 5, because although that's a priority, that is not the only thing that we should be worrying about at the moment. That's right. Okay, I was also thinking about this pump, because right now I have it pumping into here to be managed later. But this is mostly good stuff. So since I just barely caught this, I'm going to have him dig this out. We're gonna make this priority 9. I guess I can just let him roll while, if we're on this speed, it might be a more pleasant watch to see them go. Okay, so we're gonna do this. So I'm gonna make them build that. And then I'm gonna have them attempt to manually pump out this polluted water. And then we'll go and we'll dump it into here. So that's gonna be my goal. So we also need to make sure that our water, so we're having a slight water issue where these showers aren't getting water. And the reason for that is because this is going and hitting this it always hits the first one in the chain, only if it's along the chain. This is why giving a little bit of space, so at the split, this is why having a split is important on all of these, because it'll distribute them a little bit better. Here, if we had it going up to here, this pipe, then this wouldn't be occurring. However, this is not a long-term solution, so I'm not going to worry about changing it. When it gets to be time, then we will do that. Just making sure I'm recording here. Test. A little peek behind the curtain there. Okay, so now we're looking at this, and is someone gonna come do it? Well, Ren's thinking about doing it at number 3. He's busy on his jogging machine, which is at number 8, so, you know, Mr. Guy. Like, come on. We'll set this to 8 as well, actually. And this should be 8. This research should be 9. We do want to prioritize that. And then, actually, food making, we'll call it an 8 as well, because we're doing okay. All right, we got some new guys. I'm not going to get a new guy right now, so we're just going to take the sandstone. In general, you want to take these things, the offerings, because they're good. It's good offerings, and you should do it. We're barely breathable here. You can tell when you start to have problems because your carbon dioxide will start to grow and look bigger. And how the gases work in this game is however many G's you have will influence the G's on this side. So there's like a max that this will go with its G's based off of your gas vent. There is a way to get a higher pressure, and there's a high pressure gas vent, but at 2,000 G's, that's when in this early game you have a harder time moving around, and that 2,000 is like more ideal for your base. You kind of just want to max it out, in my opinion, with your oxygen, and that'll push these other gases down because this is only 500 G's worth of gas. So if you add more oxygen, all this carbon dioxide will move. Since it's heavier, it goes below the oxygen. It'll move down. If you look over here, we have this polluted oxygen here, which is being generated from this polluted water, which is actually decreasing. So the polluted water is decreasing in G's, whereas and turning into polluted oxygen. You can see we have 1,000 in here. So when this opens here, the reason why there's so much motion here is because all of it's going to basically just funnel out since there's more pressure here than over here. So you want to think about your pressure, and this is where we see very breathable. You want high oxygen concentration. See in the corner, looking at that stuff. So here it's very breathable because this is polluted oxygen at 1,000 G's. And, you know, we really just want it at 2,000 in our entire base. And we'll get there. We'll get there in due time. Okay, so we have this, and we want to make sure that we're pumping that out here, and then we want to pump this water here, and we want to enable auto bottle. So that way we're picking it up here and taking it on over there. And now we have our jumbo battery, which you know, let's build a jumbo. Jumbos are generally better. You can get a little more juice out of them. So, let's see. With batteries, you want to look at the power leak. That's a thing. So yes, you can store, but the power leak is higher. So battery capacity is 40 with a 2 kg power leak, whereas this has, right, so the ratio is better on the jumbo batteries. You leak more power, but the ratio of what you have can store versus the leak is it's a better ratio. So the smaller batteries would be better for very short-term needs, whereas the jumbo battery is better for longer-term uses. In general, I use the jumbo batteries. I actually usually go and get the smart battery, and you'll understand why. I actually don't really use batteries for storage, if I'm being honest. Like, we use it now, but like later on, it's much more efficient to have like the least amount of batteries as possible, except for in backup scenarios. And even then, you can have backup like natural gas, and that will keep your stuff. All right, let's speed through this nighttime thing. And you can see we went through and decorated. I noticed this in yesterday's recording. We got a lot of crude, crude stuff here. Very, unfortunately awful, kind of a design. So, they're trying, they need a little more time to really hit it. Okay, so now annoyingly, sometimes you can just, M is the mop tool. Sometimes you can just mop it up, and see, that's where it's at. Sometimes you can mop these things. And when you have that option, you just do it. Okay, so now let's turn off disable auto bottle, disable auto bottle. We got everything we needed. Let's destroy this, and let's open up this guy. Liquid pump. So now we can have it pumping stuff out, and we're gonna have it pump directly into this instead of that. So we're just gonna set that to 9, so we'll maybe expedite one of them so we don't build it by accident. Okay, so this will then pump into here. Okay, I also thought about this. I gotta stop pausing and just go slow. Sometimes pumping isn't the best. So here I am changing my mind again. Sometimes what you want is just to use gravity. So I changed my mind. We'll still build this. I think that's fine. But what we should do is use gravity. And here you can put a mesh tile in so that way our plant is still being used for this. So we're just gonna use gravity to bring this down. Like that's actually the best thing to do here, because of the way that this is. It is just simply higher. So we'll do that, we'll mop it up, and then they can do it like that. Okay. So that will be Gucci. So that's also a consideration. Like bottom of your base, if your water's there. The reason I like this sort of big tunnel here is because at some point I'm just gonna open up this water and just let it fall down, and then I'm gonna pop it into my water chamber. So you can kind of control the water here. Oh, and we have a natural gas geyser right here. This is great. This will be great for power. I didn't really look around last time and notice that. Anyways, not every planet has these. They usually have them, but if you can get one, it's awesome. It's awesome for power. All right. I'm gonna start torquing out and start building a little bit more here. Okay, so the question is, how far do we want this mesh tile to go? So I think we'll just do it there. Oh, that'll be fine. And it won't be perfect, but honestly, we're not seeking protection. All right, I'm gonna speed her up, and we're gonna prioritize a few different things at the same time. This is what happens when you play this game. Is you're like, okay, we want to do this and we want to do this, and you have to sort of decide what's the most important. Water. This is probably more important than the water because the water's fine. But I want to show you guys, you know. But ultimately, it probably doesn't matter. That's the big difference. Digging this out is a 5, absolutely, because who cares, you know? And then this will be a 9 when we get there. So we're already kind of seeing the benefits of this open space. We're down on oxygen generation. That is simply because of the fact that this keeps shutting off because of the batteries. But we're still doing okay. It's emitting quite a bit of oxygen, so we don't really have to worry about it. Now that needs to be expedited, as does that, so our oxyfern doesn't stop. But you know, things are looking up. See this, the G's are coming back, all because of this battery here that's getting used. So we'd probably get rid of this one, but I'm not going to yet, because this whole area I'm gonna get rid of at like pretty soon. All right, so we open this up so the water can flow in. That's the point of this. Okay, so now it's going, and it's got plenty of space to sort of fill up, and we'll let time take care of this business. But we also have to mop up this stuff. So you can move this water if you like put like tiles in, and it's just like a lot to manage. So what I do is I just deal with the fact that that's what we currently have. And you know, they're just gonna get soggy feet, and that's just the way it is. They're just gonna get their soggy feet. All right, so now it's pretty hot in here. You know, that's not great. It's definitely too hot for him. But we're starting to close it off, so at least this heat will disperse amongst this stuff. And we are starting to get some heat creeping in from here. Looks like, I don't know if that's a cold biome or just like a little pocket. There is a cold biome where you can like go get ice and stuff at some point if you need to disperse more. Not gonna worry about it right now. Just gonna get our insulated tiles. This person is yucky lungs, food poisoning. Excellent. Okay, so now we got that. So now we gotta sit down again. This game is constantly just sit down and think about it, you know, all the time. So water's a good at maintaining its temperature. So we just open this up and try to let these waters touch. Like, not that they're gonna touch, but you know, they'll just get a little bit closer. It's not the worst thing. Just want to make sure that your dupes have the access they need in order to open things up. Okay, so I'm looking at this water going through here. I'm also looking at this water going through this bathroom and coming down into our chamber down here eventually. I'm glad we did it this way. It saves power, and we don't have great power generation right now. We should be focusing on getting more oxygen in this spot. So right now things are feeling pretty good. Our water is full. See, it's fully pumped. And now this issue is fine now because this liquid vent is now overpressured. So what this means is it can't fill up anymore. There's 1,000 kgs of water in here. And you can see it sort of is spilling up. That's pretty common. It'll go sort of one square up. It'll sort of overfill itself when you do this. This is why I have this here, because if for some reason the polluted water fills up to this line, it will actually touch up this line. So if this was up one and this door opened, it would spill out into our other water supply. But having it here is great. Eventually you can have multiple. So I will usually have a few different liquid vents in here that's set to priorities. So like, you know, bathroom dumping will be at the high priority, and then external dumping will be like down here. So it's like only if we're losing a lot of water will we get the external dumpings in here. So that way it's never, you don't clog up something. So it's just thinking about using placement of these in order to prioritize your automation, which will come up later, but something to think about. This is why you want like a large chamber for like your water, or a large chamber for, you know, any of this stuff. Just gonna open this up a little more. This is exposing us a little bit to this, which, being honest, I don't really want to worry about that at the moment. So we're just gonna kind of do that, block us off. I did granite for here. So you want to be careful about what you're using. So we like igneous for two reasons for these insulated tiles. One, it is slow heating, so it takes longer for it to heat up or cool down. As an insulated tile, that's like exactly what you want. You don't want to use thermally reactive stuff because that's the opposite. It's that will it will heat up and slow faster. But I mean, ultimately, like, it's an insulated tile. Doesn't like super matter for this. Like when we get deeper in it, using this, you'll be like, no, like, or you'll just use sandstone, because like if that's what you have available, that's what you have available. But for me, using this for base outline, I'm always like, you know, stickler, use the best thing that you possibly can, so that way you don't get hosed later on. So we're just shielding ourselves from this heat here, and we're thinking about eventually doing that, but but at one point we're just gonna build an entire box around our base with the insulated tiles, and we'll have sections. So we'll have our sort of living section, and then there's some sections where you like need some heat, you know, like these guys, these plants, these are great plants, you know, you want these plants, but they need to live in a certain temperature. 35 is the minimum that it needs to be, and that's not ideal for dupes. You know, so this is, you know, you're walking into an oven, you know, so you want to look at that and be careful. Okay, dirt is good. Dirt is food. Dirt is also research. Right now we're making a lot of mush bars because that's just what we have. Ideally we would have lice loaf, you know, but mush bars, dirt and water, it's great. Delicious. Especially early on. Later, you can, you know, you have burgers and stuff, and I'm a big fan of the surf and turf. That's the thing that is probably one of the better things you can have. But you know, sometimes it's just about the variety, and there's no wrong answers to this game. You can, if you want to serve your dupes burgers and do that whole thing, you can. If you want to give them mushroom wraps, you can. There's a lot of different options, but you know, there's a lot of right ways to do it, but then there's even more wrong ways, and that's what makes this game so great. And I was thinking about this comparison, since I am a video editor, this game is actually a lot like video editing because it is that sort of combination of creativity with technical ability, and at the same time, you like I said, there's no like right way to do it. You know, it's not like math, but there are a lot of wrong ways. So finding out that, feeling out the balance and what pleases you the most is what makes this game fun. Like for me, like I like to have good plumbing in my, like in an ideal world, my showers would be up here. This line would go all the way up here, you know, into the showers. And then I would have the natural reserve here. And the showers would just be awesome. And aesthetically, this would just go up to the shower line and fuel that, and then the outputs would come down here. So boop, boop, boop. See what I'm saying? And then boop, that would come down. So it would just like, oh, here's the out, and then just go straight to here, and then here's the in, and it's all in this tiny little area. Like that to me, that's the best stuff. That's what I want, you know, that's what I want. And then other things like, you know, I'll show you power setups, and there's good ways to do that too. All right, let's look at our research. So we could start going here, but I'm gonna let's see. We could do food, but we're doing okay on food. Medicine, who cares? Who cares about medicine? Let's see. We want this deodorizer. That'll help us feel better. We could go do better. That's more decor. Computer. I am always like, I do computers like last. You could probably get rolling with some computers and stuff first, but to me that's always like, I'm you know, trying to hit all the analog stuff first. Okay. The sieve, obviously. Doi. Okay, so let's think about this. So I'm thinking that right here is gonna be our room of our research room. So research room needs to be a little bit taller than this, I believe, once we hit the yellow and orange research. But you know, I'm just gonna let it slide for now. You know what? We'll build a separate one once we get there. Okay, so when you're thinking about putting a room together, you got to think about what do you need in the room. So where's our laboratory? 2 science buildings, a light source. Great. So science buildings built in laboratory function more efficiently. See, laboratory enables geotoner and mission control station uses. So you do like eventually need this stuff in order to work. You also want to be looking at what, you know, how this computer negatively impacts the environment, which I don't think that it does. It doesn't like, oh, decor 0. So some items, like, they have decor 0. And then think about what you're using. Iron ore you want to save for steel in general. So use copper, especially if you're trying to make something a little bit schmancier. And leave space for decor items. You're going to want to, you know, get some nice trim. Save your granite for that. O is rotating this, by the way. So you need to rotate an item. And see? Just beautiful trim. Stunning trim. So we could do granite for this. Or I'm sorry, we could do an ice block, but do we have a lot of plants? Let's look at our, let me slow us down so I can think. Let's look at our plants. Here's your resources. You can see all of them. And you can also track, like, you know, like how many nutrient bars do we have? How much, looks like we have some meat. Or at some point we had some meat. Oh no, we do have meat. And, you know, we have a lot of mush bars available, so we probably don't need to make any more mush bars. I might have them stop, so we can save our dirt for other things. Okay, here's our seeds. We have tons of mealwood seeds. That's good. That's for eating. Blossom seeds, I think are also for that briar. Okay, so the briar seeds, though, those we have 5 of. So we can plant. All right, we're running into a nice issue here where they're unable to get up there. It's fun. Okay, granite. Just granite. That way, you know, you want them to have a good time when they're inside of their, you know, windowless box. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard out there. And you also, you know, you wanna consider giving them, you know, some lights. You know, or is a big fan of the lamp light source. So these are obviously different. These lights are great because they have a lot of downward, but if you want just like a blast of light, these are also great. So these take 8 watts of power. These are 10. You want to look at the brightness too. So these are not as bright, but they are more, they're going to give you more decor. We could try and trap a shine bug in here, which would be pretty cool. But you know, we're just gonna place 2 lights there, and then we're going to get some crude hearts. Okay, so that's how we do it. And then I don't think we can hang any pots here, but later we'll get, you know, a more friendly setup. Okay, and then I'm changing my mind. Now that we're putting lights in, we want this to be efficient, so we're gonna be getting this duplicate motion sensor and starting on computers. Just because that's the best thing to do. Here. All right, we're gonna crank it up. These are at 9, that's good. Let's turn off these mush bars. You've made enough, they're disgusting. Everyone hates them. Start cooking. Start doing this. Lyra's just jogging her little ass off right now. Sorry for swearing, I'm trying not to swear on these things. But, you know, my day-to-day is full of that, so it's hard to remember sometimes. Okay, got some skills. Gotta give out the skills. Okay, so we still don't have rocket, so you look at the crowns, you know, what do we need? We don't really need any of this stuff. Improved carrying is always good, especially early on, but we want our dupes to be happy, you know. We want to, and we'll have to redo some of these later, but if they can be a little bit more artsy, like, that could go a long way. All right, we love our wires, so we're gonna make sure our wires are good. So you wanna, just like with water pipes, you don't wanna just do a firm line. You can if you want, but you wanna tuck away the wires so they're hidden behind doors, behind this stuff. The dupes are happier that way, and for me, just do it for me. It looks better. It looks better. Why you even argue with me? It looks better. So why even bother? Okay, and wire's hard to get, so you want to make sure we technically have some access right here. So I'm gonna get rid of that. So like how I did this, like no, but that's just temporary. And this is ideally permanent home, you know, for this stuff. So I think that this will make the researcher happy once they get there. And they're sleeping. They're sleeping. She's dreaming of gears. Like, see, she's got soggy feet. She's super focused. She is what you might call neurodivergent. Which I think you need to have a little bit of that if you're going to play this game, if I'm being perfectly honest. Alright, duplicate skills. I forgot something very important. You gotta upgrade the hat. You gotta upgrade the hat. You know, they gotta look cute, you know? Here they go showering, they put their little hats down when they shower. They shower with their clothes on, you know, clearly. But, you know, you gotta make sure that people are feeling good, looking good, and that's just the way it is. So let's see, so Nisbet is super focused. And I wonder what that has to do with her being like that. That is her trait. She is overjoyed, so she's being super productive. Well, good for you, Nisbet. Decor, it looks like they were in a good decor area. Yeah, so I don't know why they're overjoyed. I mean, morale seems it's going down, but, you know, maybe because they had a nice break. Alright. Alright, we're almost done with computers, so I can show you that chunk. It looks like we are about finished, or we got an upgrade of some kind. Novice research is complete. That's great. So here's we want this marble block. That's money, but we can't quite get there yet. Oh, let's go find our fire poles. That's what we should put in next. Those are incredibly efficient. Fire poles. A ladder bed. See, I haven't used the ladder bed at all. I think that might have to do, yeah, that's more of a spaced out thing. So if you're later on when you know, are launching rockets and going to space, I know that seems like, hey, where's space, you know? But space does exist, and there's a whole side thing. Once you breach the surface, you can go to space, and that becomes the next frontier, if you will. And up there, I mean, there's no oxygen, and your oxygen escapes. So you really got to make sure you have a nice, cozy home as you go. All right, we're gonna crank this up. I'm gonna take a look at our automation. We need refined metal. So I forgot about that, you know. So we gotta, okay, we need the rock crusher. I think that does it. Yep. Which, you know, that the rock crusher requires a lot of power in order to get that refined metal. So thinking about this, think about the best way to do this. Did I get? We got the sieve. Oh no, we haven't gotten the sieve. Did we get this? Yeah, see. Should be behind on everything. Okay, let's do that. Let's crank it up. And they're building that stuff. It's feeling good. Oh, we also need that park sign for up here. There's just, you know, there's too many things to think about when you play this game. That's just the way it is. So at some point, I'm going to move these showers. Probably up here. And I'll show you how we do that. But we want to make sure it's a nature reserve up there as well. I'm gonna leave it for now, but you know, this probably should all be bedding. Here, this will be our tunnel out here. So we'll put, there's like these little exosuits that they can put on. So when they're in the main base area, they're nice and cozy. Exosuits, they can go into the hot, into the cold, all that stuff. So you just portion it out. And that's how I like to play. I mean, some people are like, you know, they just go out, you know, they just, hey, dupes, they are resilient, you know, but they can do more challenging tasks. Okay, so now we're we're in a weird spot because the pufflets, not quite ready for the pufflets. Because they excrete germs, slime lung. That's a thing that I'm sure would be fine, but I don't want to deal with it, and I also don't want a guy. Later, I would just, you know, oh, yep, let's take that. We'll add him to the farm because you have a farm. But right now, I'm just not ready for it. Not ready for it. We're establishing our base. We're trying to think about how to automate this stuff. And okay, actually I changed my mind. We do want the rock crusher, and we need to get our little butt into gear in order to get her done. All right, moving on. So we'll be doing downwards expansion, obviously. I foresee I want this, actually. I changed my mind. We're gonna go for this for power. So you can do a coal generator, and I'm gonna set that up over here. Probably like kind of farther over here. So if we'll be kind of coming up this way. We gotta think about our main chamber, which, so you have your internal chamber, or your internal vertical whatever, you know, ladder system. You want the same thing in this main area, but I've never done a 6x, and I've always been like, I need more space. I've always thought that. So if we do a 6x, so we need to give some space around this guy. I think that's all we need. And then we'll create the chamber there. But, you know, do we want to do a 6? Let's just do it. I've never done it. I've always done 4. But we want to do a 6. So I'm just gonna do that. And then, you know, you just kind of hope that you don't run into any more of these things. There's sort of a way you can... A lot of these little volcano things are buried, so you kind of want to look for this material, which is just gray and textured, so you can kind of tell where it is. That is not the same. Not seeing any. Absolite is a different resource. It's hard to dig in. So, you know, we're just gonna make this our chamber. And if we need to, we don't have a ton of wiggle room anyways, but if we need to sort of divert it off to the side. And so this is our base vertical zone. This is our main, like from the top to the bottom, you know, taking it all the way. Boring. It's a boring machine. And it looks like we're just hanging out. I spent way too much time talking, and now they're just chilling. So you know what? We're gonna be a good CEO and punish these people for their crimes against, honestly, their own survival. You know, I mean, that's something that a CEO would probably say, that this is the good of your own whatever garbage they like to talk about. All right, insulated tiles. That's how we do the front. Base exit. So this is the part of the base where we can exit out and go into the main chamber. I like to have 1, maybe 2 exits, but you generally want to keep 1 and then leave the rest of this for your base extension. You do want to think about making sure you have vertical You really want it to be very vertical because it's faster. Like ladders are faster than running in general. You can get cozier stuff, and you want to keep things here, you know, as close to this sort of zone as possible and not super spread out. And you just need to, you know, the rule of 4, right? Because that way you're like, you know, my guys, you know, they're a little sad in these toilets. And luckily they have a little light guy in here with them. But I think they could use a little bit more decor. So you give it to them, give it a low number, so they can do it. And that way they can be happy with their situation. So everything's going well. We have water, plenty of water. We have our polluted water that we'll need to take care of eventually. But for now, you know, things are looking good. Things are feeling good. Let's go get that fire pole. We're building out. We're thinking about things. We're thinking about how we'll probably move these showers, and this will just be all bedrooms in here. Maybe on the other side of this water supply will be some sort of kitchen. Let's see if they adjusted all this. So yeah, they do have a kitchen. So we'll probably put a kitchen the other side of this for the cook to use, and that's great because it's right by the pitcher pump, you know. The only downside to that is the food will get here, but then people eat here. Ideally, they would have the food in here, but there is a way to sort of automatically bring that food over, which is something we will do later with the kitchen. So not something we want to worry about until later. And honestly, do we even want to worry about it is the thing. Okay, look at this. Quaint. That's better. Crude. See? Decor 12. Look at us. We're getting better. Decor 18. So what you do is you say, you know what? Whoever made this, who's our artist? Marie, you know, you've improved a lot. Try again. And you know, that's a little rude, if I'm being honest. That's a little bit rude. But that's life, baby. That's life. Everybody's a critic, and that's just the way it goes. Okay, so the rock crusher. This is like the worst item, I think, in my opinion. But we're gonna do it because I see these lights on, and I'm just thinking like, where is, like, the power that is exiting is frightening. Okay, and I'm also expediting a airflow tile because at the moment this is just full of carbon dioxide, and that's not good to go down and do this research down here. So these are your friends, you know. You want to keep that opened up. Now this is just gonna eat at R, and we're using iron for this. That is okay for now. Not worried about it yet. But I'm expediting this because I want to get our motion sensor in, and I want to automate it so this stuff isn't on unless they're in there. That's the whole point of having these lamps in here. So that's what we're doing. And I can't remember the exact range of the motion sensor, so now we have a problem. See, they fell down. So you gotta watch. Make sure. Because they don't know how to break out unless you tell them. You just gotta watch. We'll leave that open, actually, so they can efficiently. Okay, so now we have this. God, I hate making iron. I guess You know, there are ways to get iron later. The power this requires and the decor is just terrible. So you actually don't really want it in the in the walkway. You want it in an isolated area surrounded by crude or you know, quaint or better areas. But for now, this is our dump. This is my doom pile, if you will, for you neurodivergent folks. Doom pile. All right, look at that. We have our duplicate sensor. So, O to flip. There's my timer to stop playing. And you know what? We're gonna do another 5 minutes. See, that's how I do. That's how I do things. Okay, so we're gonna have two. We're gonna have one here and one here to cover. So this is gonna cover both if they're working here or here. That's the best way to do it. And we got our automation wire. So here's the thing, you wire it just like the other stuff, except you can run into problems. For instance, you can't have it here. Otherwise this will control the door. So it will only unlock if they're on this side. Otherwise it'll be locked the whole time, which is not great. So, you compromise, and you can either sort of messily put it around here. Sometimes I'll bring it behind the trim, but I'm doing this, and I think it costs maybe a little bit more to do this, but you know, that's just the way it is. Okay, so these guys are just funny. This is just fun. So don't really need these guys, but it's fun to watch them sort of duplicate and figure themselves out. Eventually you want to make surf and turf. This is the fine ingredient of surf and turf. So you can see they're flopping, and they're not, they're looking for food. They're not particularly happy. Wild fish like this will procreate and sort of maintain their existence, but you can't really farm them for food unless you can increase their metabolism, so you can ranch them. So right now they're just flopping around. They're actually looking for water, and I think we can give them some water. We're just gonna open this up for them, and they're just gonna go live in our water supply for a little while, because you know they're good to have. You know, we love them. We love them lots. And we want to finish this, so we're so close to having our fire poles. Speed up our time here. So we'll finish this, and then we'll get our fire poles in, and then I'm going to leave because I need to go do real work, you know. Not that YouTube isn't real work, but it isn't for me, you know. This is just fun. But, you know, you see, you know, what people do on YouTube, and it's totally insane. And good for them. Wire bridge. So we need a little bit more of this. Is someone gonna come and work on this? Yep, someone is coming. So we gotta refine some more. Use up that power. So this is the ultimate gear. I mean, look at this. Like, it's not even going up. It's maybe going down. No, it's slightly going up. So could you imagine like running on this and this guy just sitting there just punching and refining metal as you're trying to just make sure everyone has oxygen? Like, how rude is that? How rude is that? Lights. See? So this connects it. And you can see these operating. So like red is off. See? So now the lights are off. But if let's deconstruct our research stations. It's gonna freak out at us for a second and not let us do any more research, but that's okay. I think it's time for electrolyzer. Here's a little egg that it won't let me highlight for some reason, but that's from this guy. It's the best. Ideally we would have copper, so for the poles. So let's go take a look here at the copper. There's some copper here. We don't want to open up that. I don't want that because I'm using that. We could open this up. Have to go up here anyways. Actually, we'll just use a nice ladder here. Get that copper, get that, this and that, and let's go get that. Okay, speed her up. So anyways, as they go in, you'll see the lights turn on, you know? It's like magic. Field research, we're gonna need that. We're probably about ready for crop tending, but we can do it later. You know, we could, yeah, you just gotta have a cook. We don't have that cooking stuff ready, but you know, you gotta, oh my God, I almost forgot. The most important thing. Gotta get their hats going. So this guy's our researcher, so we gotta make sure he has a research hat. Marie, doing great. Nisbet, improved construction, you got it, Nisbet. And then obviously you need the fancy chef hat, which is orange. Everyone gets a fresh hat. We all love it. There you go, Lyra, go get your bonuses. All right, so now we have one sad soul. Didn't quite make it into the chamber. So it's crowded in here, mood is glum. They will regenerate, but they're not happy to be in this. There's not enough people. There's my timer again. I'm just gonna we should need a little more time. Don't tell anyone. All right, Firepoles, and this is where everything just opens up. This is what we want. So you see why I do the why I do it this way, with a 4 setup and with a lip to hop into, because they can hop over these lips. Just the amount of control you get. So if, say you want to dump some water down, you can easily do it, and it won't go into these little lips as long as you have it all tidy and set up. And that little hop, like, you know, it's worth it just for that. And if you really wanted, you could put a little mesh tile here, you know, if you wanted to keep it open. But, you know, it's good for just making sure all of your carbon dioxide escapes down into the bottom and gets eaten by this oxyfern. You know, there's a lot of reasons why you just want this sort of opened up and breathable for them. You need everything to, like, look at this is very breathable here. If this was, look at this, like, oh, it's 500 here, and this obviously is being influenced by that opening up. But you can see it just, the more breathability you have, the better. So what I will do is I'll just kind of put these wherever you think, but you know, every so often, you know, come up with something that feels good to you. If you don't mind a little bit less breathability in an area, then that's not a problem. But you know, for certain things, I'm like, I'll put 3 here because it sort of visually makes sense in my head, or I just put it in the corners because that makes sense, or you just kind of do every 4, you know. So whatever sort of works for you. I'm just going to do the corners for that, and then for here, I like to do, for the bedroom areas, I like to do on the actual under the doors, because it will come in from either side, so it just keeps it open. And then obviously we need one here. And not there, because that's the polluted oxygen. I'm just gonna do that. I just like that setup. And then here, obviously, this is why I just kind of do it like that, because it bugs me. Like, I want one on the top, because if there's a gas up here that you don't want in this room, it'll be able to escape that way. But then you just have one awkward block. So this is usually my setup where it's like, okay, a single thing can sort of flow up and down here. And it doesn't bother me but that these are here for some reason. Oh, I do have to move this, but that's okay. We'll leave it as is for now. I just want that gap. You want that gap. So as you can see, it's just simply more efficient to have enabling auto harvest on these and make sure we get all of our stuff. All right, so things are looking good. Is there something else I wanted to do before I delay my timer even more? Because I do need to go get to work, but I don't see anything. Maybe we dive into this agriculture next time. Oh, you know, I was talking about power. That's what I want to do. Where is our fossil fuels? Some of these things are new to me. Sugar engine. Stores fertilizer, oxidizer tank. All right, cool. All right, so maybe we'll start. So you have your sort of home base, and maybe next time we'll sort of dive into creating a power station with this natural gas vent, because that's great. Looks like we maybe need a little more food. Looks like we're kind of running low up here, but we'll handle that plus some next time. You know, I think we'll just keep eating mush bars for now. We'll get our power going, and then we'll start our actual food setup. But we got our research area. Feeling nice. Let's see, do we have the bonus? Yes, we do. Laboratory bonus. So you want to think about achieving these room overlays, you know, because this is where you get the bonuses and you continue to progress. I realized later that to get the research, you had to like finish one of these, I'm pretty sure. So anyways, you want to get the best one. Like, you don't want the latrine, like, you know, who cares? But I think the only one that does double might be the park and the nature reserve. So I'll show you a little trick so duplicants are running through that every time. The shower trick is obviously the best because they go and shower all the time and they can just be in the space, and that just, you know, seems cozy to me. But you can sort of trick their bedrooms so they run through a park every day. And then obviously you need this other stuff. Rec room is, you know, I usually have a few of those. Anyways, let's save it up. We made it to cycle 31 today, which seems like I've been doing 9 each day. It seems like today was a little bit longer. So, all right. See you guys next time. Bye.